Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 10 of the original Mets Guys podcast. Father, you left us for 1 week, but now you're back. How are you doing today?
I am back and I am doing well. Thank you for the vacation that you allotted me to take some time and enjoy some warm weather. I'm doing well. Yeah, still no Pete Alonso. I think that's the only thing that we're missing right now. But I'm doing well. How are you?
I cannot complain. I did not have to see the Giants lose this week, which is good. RYNE STANEK is back, so that's good. You're back. That's great. I only missed you for a little bit.
Oh, I'm so emotional.
But yeah, I mean, as you said, the only thing missing right now is Pete Alonso, and our talks for the past couple of weeks have just been Pete Alonso. I do have some interesting things I want to talk about today and bring something up, which is interesting. It's a little different from what we do, but
do it.
I do want to bring that up. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But first of all, you have been very adamant into saying that the Mets need to bring back RYNE STANEK, and boom, RYNE STANEK is now back on the squad. Give me your thoughts, your feelings.
Well, I think this makes the Mets bullpen complete. We can add Brooks Raley, bring him back, just another lefty arm in the bullpen. But if not, I could sleep at night with that. But I think RYNE STANEK is a big bullpen piece. He's a big time pitcher. He is somebody that the Mets can rely on. And, is he going to be perfect? He's not going to be perfect. But I don't know any bullpen arm that is perfect. I think coming into this, right, I liked A.J. Minter from the beginning, and I wanted RYNE STANEK back. And both of those wishes came true. So I can't complain. I think this is great. I did message RYNE STANEK a few weeks ago. While he was off on vacation with his beautiful family. He's a nice-looking family. And I messaged him, and I told him now he has to spend some time with his other family, with the Mets family. Come back home. And his response was amazing. His response was, he completely ignored me. He didn't respond to my message at all because, that doesn't happen. But he signed with the Mets. And for some reason, I kind of felt this whole time that it was going to happen. And it just, it was just about, the timing of it and making it work and making it happen. But I'm really excited about the Mets bullpen. The Mets bullpen is by far better than it was last year going into the season. So, hoo-ah to that.
Yeah, it was... I talked about this last week with Flay. It's very weird to me. I'm confident in our bullpen going into 2025.
Right.
It might be one of the only things I am confident in about this Mets team going into 2025. But we have a good bullpen for the first time in a very long time. I don't really remember the last time the Mets bullpen was something to be excited about going into a season.
No, for sure. This is a solid bullpen, and you think about the pieces that they have to get to Edwin Diaz. They're very, very appealing, and if we can get 6 innings out of our starters, right, we're good. If we get 5 innings out of our starters, we're in good shape. So I think that no matter. The starting rotation is going to be the question, right? And now there's a lot of talk about Michael King and Dylan Cease, and we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I'm not confident something is going to happen with that, but it's good fodder for. Oh, here we go. Very good dad joke. It's good fodder for the father. But I don't see that happening, and quite frankly, I'm not sure I'm even willing to give up what they're asking, what it seems like they're asking for Michael King or Dylan Cease. So we'll see what happens, but if Sean Manaea can have a season similar to how he had what he had last year, we're good. If Kodai Senga can bounce back, we're good. If Frankie Montas can be the pitcher that he was in Oakland back in the day, great. If Clay Holmes can make that transition to being a starting pitcher, right? That's great. If David Peterson can have another season in which he builds on off of last year and really makes himself a significant piece of that rotation, we're golden, right? Then you have to worry about the back end. You have to worry about Paul Blackburn and Griffin Canning and the other guy. The other guy I'm forgetting right now because that's how forgetful he is.
Who is this other guy? You said
Tyler
McGill?
Tyler McGill, or right, there was some discussion about Jose Buto, but I think he's going to be in the bullpen as the guy that can give us 2 innings if we need it. The 6th and 7th or the 5th and 6th if one of the starters kind of like falters.
Now,
but
I'm going to cut you off because first of all, you were talking for way too long.
Isn't this podcast all about me?
No, it can be if you want. I can leave and you can take over. But in what you just said, there was a lot of ifs before every single pitcher. That scares me, right? Now, I want to specifically talk about Sean Manaea, right?
Yeah.
You love Sean Manaea. You were very excited when he came in. I know a lot of people weren't. You were one of the few people who were, happy and excited for Sean Manaea. Do you really think that he could repeat last season?
So what does a repeat mean?
Do you think he'll be back at what was his ERA last year? 3.34 or something like that?
Somewhere around 3.50, yeah.
Right. So do you think he can be around that 3.30, 3.50 ERA again? Do you think he's going to be as dominant in the playoffs as he was again? Are we going to see that same Sean Manaea, or are we going to see a Sean Manaea similar to the San Francisco Sean Manaea, the San Diego Sean Manaea, the back end of Oakland Sean Manaea?
So I don't think that he's going to be that. I don't think he's going to be that putrid of a pitcher. That I'm confident in saying he's not going to be that. Now, will he be a 330, 350 pitcher? I'm not sure. But maybe what they need from him is to be a 360, 375, 380, pitcher. I think they'll be all right if that's what they get out of him, right? And if they can get Kodai Senga to be in that same ballpark, that's a solid rotation. Now, what I think what the Mets need more is Pete Alonso's bat in the lineup, because then I think that they'll have the offense. They'll have an incredible offense, a powerful offense to score more than 3 runs in a game. Right? Right now, I think that they're around there, but I don't know if they're there yet on offense. But the pitching, I think we've talked about this ad nauseum. This is David Stearns finding his people and making them work for him until he finds the next group of people. We'll see what happens. But again, I don't know if we need Sean Manaea to be a 330, 350 pitcher. If he's around 360, 375, 380, I think we'll be good.
Right, but if our entire rotation is around 360, 380, we're not going to be good, right? Now,
the bigger question, I believe, more depends on Kodai Senga.
So anyways, where do you see Kodai Senga? Are we seeing him back to his 2023, 2022 self, whenever that rookie season was?
So I definitely think that I think it was 23. It was 23, right? There's no reason why he shouldn't be like that, if not better, right? What we saw last year, he made that one regular season start, pitched 5 innings and got hurt, and then came back in the playoffs. I don't think what we saw in the playoffs could be what we expect from him. I think what we saw in those 5 innings will be what we can expect from Kodai Senga.
And even
He is, in my opinion, he's the ace. He's the ace. Sean Manaea will be the opening day starter, I think. But
I hope so.
Kodai Senga is the ace of the staff.
Listen, you can even look at the first start he made in the playoffs against the Phillies. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You go to his stat line, but I think one of the only hits he gave up was that first pitch home run to Kyle Schwarber, and then he was lights out. He pitched 3 innings. They took him out.
Yeah, so he came in a little bit there, but I'm talking about when they try to put him in as a starter against LA, and that fell apart.
He started the game against Philly. He started. I think it was game 1 of the NLDS, but he was lights out.
Did he? It's so funny. I honestly I don't even remember.
How can you forget a season like this?
No, I remember.
Shaming you now.
I remember the playoffs. I don't remember him starting except for in what he called
Against LA?
Against LA.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 98% sure he started the first game against the Phillies.
I'm looking up. While I look this up, are we live on Instagram?
We sure are.
Okay. Cool.
Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Hi, people on Instagram. Where is he? Where's his off-season stats over here? He started 2 games in the playoffs, but pitched in 3. So I think I'm trying to see. I think he started 2 games in the LA series, but not the 2 games.
No, you're wrong because.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Anyone on Instagram want to tell us what's going on over here?
Give me 1 second. I'll find it.
Here we go.
I can almost guarantee that he started a game against Kodai Senga.
Here we go. I got it. Okay, you're right. He started October 5th against Philadelphia. He pitched 2 innings. Right? He pitched 2 innings. So that's why I'm not remembering the start. And he gave up that 1 home run, that 1 hit to Schwarber. Done.
Right. That was his. Really funny because he had a rehab start against the Phillies and did pretty well.
Right. So that was it. Then he pitched game 1 of the NLCS against the Dodgers, or as I like to call them, the Jodgers, and he got lit up. He walked 4 guys.
He couldn't throw strikes that game.
Couldn't throw strikes. He gave up 4 walks, 3 runs, and was out. Then again in 7 days later, he came in relief, pitched 1 2/3 inning, and was a disaster. Gave up 2 walks, but 3 hits, 3 runs. He just didn't have it. So
listen, I think it's safe. I think it's safe to say that Kodai Senga and those 2 games in the NLCS is not who we're going to see opening day or game 2 of the 2025 season.
Yeah, listen to this. Right in the playoffs, he threw 95 pitches. Only 46 of them were strikes.
That's not good.
No. And by the way,
that reminds me of my high school career.
Yeah, well, you know what? And he was still better.
Yep.
No. In all fairness, you had a great 3 innings of pitching, and then completely fell apart.
And then my arm would fall off, and
right.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Enough talk about me.
Right. But no, I mean the game against the Phillies, he still threw a ton of pitches to get through those 2 innings. Right? He still threw a ton of pitches. He threw 31 pitches in 2 innings. Right? It's hard to really kind of like put that in perspective when you're trying to kind of build yourself up to 6-7 innings. It's gonna be hard to do that if you're throwing 15 pitches on average an inning, right? You need to throw strikes. You need to kind of get put the ball in play. Don't walk anyone. And in fairness, in that game, he struck out 3 people and only walked 1 batter, right? So
Right.
if you get your strikeouts up strikeouts up a lot, you're going to build up your pitches also. But I think Kodai Senga is the key to the bullpen. Sean Manaea has to have a solid season. He doesn't have to have the Sean Manaea type season, but if he's in the fours ERA, then we have to get a little nervous. But I think between him and David Peterson really building off of what they have, those three guys need to be our glue. If Frankie Montas turns out to be Luis Severino or Quintana when he was hot, we're good. If Clay Holmes is the David Peterson of last year,
Right.
beautiful.
I guess. Listen.
By the way, I do like Paul Blackburn, and I do think he's going to be the sixth man in the rotation, and I think that he's the guy that people are overlooking.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm nervous about our starting rotation, right? I've said this in the past. I've said this on the podcast a couple times. I don't think we're going to see Sean Manaea do what Sean Manaea did last year. I don't even think we're going to see close to it. I think he's going to be in that low 4, high 3 ERA range. I really hope I'm wrong, but I think David Peterson's going to go back to his hurt, injury-prone self, his having problems. We're not going to really get a full season out of him. Frankie Montas had, I think, one good season in his entire career, but he's a career 4.15 ERA guy. That move makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
But that move is a David Stearns move.
I get it, but it's foolish to think that Jeremy Hefner can turn every guy he works with and turn them around and have them be like Sean Manaea or like Luis Severino. It's foolish to think. It really is, right? I'm nervous about it, right? I'm nervous about how it was last year. Last year turned out great. But the Mets right now are not a 90-win team. The offense isn't there and the rotation isn't there, right? So I want to ask you, you already kind of answered this question, but if you're Carlos Mendoza, who you throwing on the bump opening day?
I'm starting Kodai.
And what's your backup plan? Kodai doesn't have it. Who are you going to bring in? Emergency situation. You got to bring somebody in the third inning. Who's that guy?
Then I'm probably gonna go Jose Buto. At that point,
that's a good move.
I'm gonna go Jose Buto. See how many innings we can get from him. If we still need a couple guys to get us there, you have Daniel Nunez. You get maybe I would try on opening day and see what Griffin Canning can do for you. But we'll see what it is. But just to talk about Frankie Montas for a second here, right? I think we're forgetting that here we go. Let me just pull this up over here. He is a career 409 pitcher, right?
Well, I said what? I said 410.
I wasn't listening to you.
Okay. So right, I said 410.
Right. So think about this, right? In between 2018, and 2019, he was 388 and 263 respectively. He had I'm not sure what happened in 2020. It was a shortened season. That's what happened. COVID season. And then the year after that, he made 32 starts and was 337. That's after that is when it was when he was traded away from Oakland, and he joined the other team in New York. That's when everything started. He had a 3.18 ERA before being traded over to the other team in New York, right? He had a 6 ERA over there. Good job, Frankie, right? Now the question is, can he find himself again? He was putrid. He was putrid as a member of the Bronx Pinstripers. Last year he he what do you call it? Last year he struggled, but not as bad as he did there. He was a 5 ERA guy. The question is going to be is can he find what worked for him in there? I don't love Frankie Montas. I'll say that from the beginning. Right? I don't love Frankie Montas. But he has had good seasons, and the question is, can they get something out of him? I don't know.
I sure hope so. Listen, it's hard to be confident in our starting rotation now. We've talked about our rotation and our bullpen for the last 25 minutes, so let's move on a little bit.
Breaking news, just to throw it out there, not baseball related, basketball. But I figured if it's breaking on our podcast, let's at least mention it. The Kings are trading the Aaron Fox to the Spurs.
Oh wow! Hey, it's funny. I just saw something that he requested a trade, and he only wanted to get traded to the Spurs. So that's a.
Oh, also the Bulls are involved in that deal because Zach LaVine's also being moved.
Interesting. But
So
I believe we are the original Mets guys podcast.
I know, but
not the original basketball guys podcast, but whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to talk about some recent acquisitions that the Mets made. We talked about it at the beginning. RYNE STANEK. Me and you both love that. You've been asking for it since day one of the offseason. And then around 4 o'clock on Friday, the Mets grabbed Nick Madrigal on a minor league deal, which effectively probably means Jose Candelita Iglesias is not going to be a part of the New York Mets. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm a fan of this Nick Madrigal guy. He's a good hitter. He's a good contact hitter. He's a great defender. According to Baseball Savant, he's a better defender than Jose Iglesias. The only thing is that he can't sing. So everybody on Mets Twitter was freaking out about it. But listen, I'd rather a guy who also he's younger. He's a lot younger than Jose Iglesias.
Listen, I think we had mentioned this. I'm not sure if we had mentioned this on the podcast or we mentioned this, in some of the conversations we've had at home. But to see Jose Iglesias come back didn't make sense. I'm surprised by the Nick Madrigal signing. Right? I guess it's a 2-way contract, so he can be shipped back and forth to the minors. But I don't really get it.
I think Steve Cohen is sick of dealing with Scott Boras, and that's why.
Is Iglesias?
Iglesias is a Scott Boras client, which by the way makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
I don't know what the promise there was. He's like,
Iglesias was a hot prospect back in the day.
I know he was, but he's now a 37-year-old man.
No, but he's still once you're a client, you're a client.
No, I think he's just a client this year. This was the first year he signed Scott Boras this year.
Oh, really?
I believe so. But it's funny. I wonder if Scott Boras is like, oh, you're a pop star, $400 million, you'll get it easily. But
I don't know, whatever.
So yeah, I mean, listen. The only downside to this is that you're taking a great bullpen, a great clubhouse guy out of the organization. A guy that really, according to Nick Castellanos, Jose Iglesias should have been the National League MVP. He brought the Mets together, but I think David Stearns and Steve Cohen don't need him anymore. He struggled tremendously in the playoffs, in the postseason. He struggled tremendously. He was striking out left and right. He was swinging at horrible pitches. I think the Mets were ready to move on from him. They brought him in as a short-term kind of solution, and they went on. They got Madrigal, like you said, on a 2-way contract that can be shipped back and forth. With which he'll be in the majors until Ronnie Mauricio is ready to play.
Yeah, listen. This move surprised me because I don't see a fit for him, because if I'm David Stearns and I want someone who's got experience, maybe I would go with Jose Iglesias over Nick Madrigal. because he has the experience and we know what he is in the clubhouse. Nick Madrigal, we got to see him in here in Chicago playing for the Cubs and the White Sox. Not impressed. I mean, he's not impressive. He's not an impressive guy to me. Whatever. I don't think he's worth it. And I think what's going to happen is if one of the young guys, Acuna, Mauricio, Beatty, those guys are struggling and they want to send them back down to the minors to work on some stuff, then they'll bring up Madrigal, right? He's just a guy to fill a roster spot, but not a guy that they're going to bank on. I think what the Mets are going to do is they're going to let their young guys try to sink or swim on the major league level. If they need to work on something, they'll send them back. But I don't know. I just don't. I don't really care about this move. I don't like it. I don't hate it. But I think it does spell the end for Mr. Oh my goodness.
During Amazing Day, David Stern said that Luis Angel Acuna is going to play a major part in 2025. Do you see him as our starting second baseman?
I kind of still think that it's Jeff McNeil's position and spot to lose. I think come spring training, if Jeff McNeil has a terrible spring and Acuna has a good spring, then maybe it switches. But I think it's Jeff McNeil's to lose. That doesn't mean that Acuna is not going to have a spot. I just think that it's Jeff McNeil's roster spot and spot in the lineup to lose. But Acuna will be around. He'll be around. He'll do spot starts. He'll give the guys at third, at second, one of the corner spots in the outfield, maybe even Nimmo in center, or not Nimmo in center, but what's his name, Tyrone Taylor in center, and he'll give these Jose Siri, he'll give these guys a rest, and he'll be put around. But I still think that starting on opening day is going to be Jeff McNeil at second.
It's interesting because I agree with you. I agree that it's Jeff McNeil's position to lose. It was just interesting to hear. It was interesting to hear David Stern saying that Acuna is going to have a major play in 2025. We had a very short sample size of him, and to think that he's going to be our starting second baseman, it's a little worrisome. And listen, a lot of people are shooting down Jeff McNeil. He is still a great ball player. He is still a phenomenal ball player that if he finds his groove, he's phenomenal contact. He can hit almost anything. And he does have the slightest bit of pop. We saw it right after the All-Star break where he hit like 3 home runs in 4 games.
Yeah, I think he's got to go back to what won him the batting title. He's got to go back to just slapping the ball, putting the ball in play, and if he can catch one, he'll catch one. But otherwise, I think that he is going to be someone that's gonna. Hopefully, this is what I hope he does doesn't feel the pressure to hit home runs. I remember after he won the batting title, I think it was Chili Davis came in as the batting coach and tried to mess with him a little bit, and then he had a few games where he batted cleanup. Don't put Jeff McNeil in cleanup. Don't put him in the 5 spot. I don't even put him in the 6 spot. He should bat now with the lineup that the Mets have. He should bat towards the bottom of the lineup, right? Not because we need a spot for him, but because let him turn over let him turn over the lineup, right? Let him get on base so Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto and Nimmo and Vientos and hopefully Pete Alonso, will be there to knock him in. But let him be the guy that helps turn over the lineup. I don't want to see him bat anywhere between 3 and 6. Right? 7, 8, 9. Okay.
As a coach of many little league championship titles, right? How are you building our lineup on opening day? What would you how would you I guess list them, and what would you also like to see?
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that right now, Pete Alonso is not with the Mets. All right. If he,
Right. If we're talking about the roster we currently have.
right. So you're gonna have Francisco Lindor lead off. You're gonna have Juan Soto bat second. I personally would rather have Nimmo bat three, but because he's a lefty, followed by Juan Soto, I could see them just mixing it up a little bit and putting Vientos third and Nimmo four. But I think if you have a righty on the mound, I would not hesitate to put Nimmo three and Vientos four. My that's how I would do it. And then again, I think you have depending on who's there on the mound, you have Starling Marte or Jesse Winker batting five, Francisco Alvarez batting six. I want to stick with Tyrone Taylor. Right, I want to stick with. Sorry, no. So batting six. Then I'm going to go with Jeff McNeil at seven, Tyrone Taylor at eight, and either Brett Beatty or Luis Angel Acuna, Ronnie Mauricio, who's going to play third base.
Right, one of the baby
nine.
Mets. One of those baby Mets guys. Listen, I want to talk about, first of all, that's a Little League championship title right there.
Of course.
Marco,
that's a major league.
That's Marcos said all those championship titles must mean as real as riding some pine. Marcos, I could not hit for the life of myself even then. So,
for the record, my championships came after Azriel was done with Little League, and it was the next kid. That's where I won my rings. But we won one championship.
I think we won two. I think we won my 7th and 8th grade year. We won both those years.
No, definitely not.
You sure? Maybe
you made it to. We made it to the championship game, 8th grade or 7th grade, one of those two.
We won 2 in a row at some point. So if it wasn't 7th and 8th, then it was 6th and 7th.
Right. We made it to the championship in I think it was 7th grade. I don't remember what happened in 8th grade.
I'm pretty sure. Listen, all I know is that we won 2 in a row. It could be that in 8th grade we got there too and then lost. But you have won all 5 of yours.
Oh, 1 second. Yeah, good.
You have won pretty much all 7, 10 of yours with the 2 younger guys.
So yeah, exactly. And the truth is, I won one. I think only one with the son underneath you, and all the other ones with the youngest.
With the youngest. By the way, Marcos, he had a massive bias because I was pitching every single game, and I pitched my shoulder off, so I ended up I had to miss a year of playing because I couldn't throw a baseball. So there was some massive bias on your part over there. So congratulations.
Well, yeah. Well, no, the truth, yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe that's right.
Yeah. You not remember me not being able to throw a baseball?
No. For the record, by the way, just to throw some props out there, you learned how to throw your slider during the year that you didn't have your arm.
That is true.
And from Sean Marshall, the former Reds and Cubs pitcher, and And what else happened? And you
I started
actually got
throwing.
your left arm. You got your left arm up to about 35, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. So what I started doing is I started throwing with my left arm, and now I don't know about now, but I remember the last time I threw with a radar gun with my left arm, I was around that 45, 50 mile an hour
Yeah.
range.
Marcos, I'm the Tom Thibodeau of starting pitchers.
Anyways,
work,
I want to ask.
work it till you're done.
I want to ask you because you weren't here last week. Obviously, you were not on the podcast, so I didn't get to ask you what you thought about Steve Cohn's comments on the Pete Alonso negotiation. I want to. Personally, I think it's great to have an owner with transparency. I saw some people who were kind of like, "That's not information for the fans." I saw
So
some.
the only question is whether he violated one of the laws, the bylaws, the rules of what you can say to the media. That's where I think people are kind of nervous about what he said. Did he violate? Did he violate those terms? But yeah, listen, I think at the end of the day, I don't think it was a message to. I don't think it was a message to Pete Alonso. I think it was a message to Boris. So I had no problem with that as a fan. And if I'm sitting there at Amazing Day and I'm able to hear directly from the owner, tell me what's going on.
Right.
Right? I love it. I love it.
It was great to hear, and now reports came out that Pete Alonso desperately wants to be back.
He has no other place to go. Remember 2 weeks ago, the whole report, oh, the Blue Jays are closing in on Pete Alonso. And
Yeah.
I said that's cap because I'm skibbity dibbity like that. So
Hey, stop.
Okay.
What the hell did you just say? What just came out of your mouth?
I just flexed like whatever the generation is saying right now, right?
Lord have mercy on everybody's soul who just heard you say that.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that I said that was cap. That was not true. That was garbage. And I think if anything we know right now, that if the Blue Jays had an offer that Pete Alonso wanted, or if Pete Alonso wanted to be with the Blue Jays, it would be a done deal by now. But it's not. Right? He's still a free agent. Come on, Pete. Let's go. Get it done.
Listen, there was a report saying that they were on the 10-yard line, the Blue Jays and Pete, and then
their own 10-yard line.
Yeah. No, there was a safety fumble, something that happened there, but they blew that. I think it's more of it could be that there was something there. It could be that they were talking and they got close to numbers and whatever, but Pete Alonso just doesn't want to play in Toronto, and I don't blame him. As an American, I don't want to play in Toronto. That's weird. But listen, if he wants to be back, desperately wants to be back, then the Mets are going to get him on a 2-year, 3-year.
Just get it done. Just get it done.
Top change.
Give him 1 year. Just make it work. Make it work. Come to an agreement. Let's put the charade. Everybody wants you. You want to be here. Let's move on. You know what? And again, I've never liked Scott Boras, right? And I'm surprised that the Brandon Nimmo deal was so smooth, right? When he signed that deal, under the thing of under the grasp of why are you holding yourself back for laughing?
Because Marco said you don't know Azrael because you ain't got no skibbity dibbity in your dibbity. So I'm trying not to laugh as you say, but
Okay.
It's funny stuff. Anyways, continue whatever you were saying.
Yeah. So I think in that deal, like the Mets wanted Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo wanted to be with the Mets, and he just told Boris, get it done.
It's funny to think, Marcos, you bring up a good point. John Heyman on a live said, I don't know, I think the Reds might be in it. Marco said Boris told Heyman to say the Reds might be a surprise team. Where did that come from? Besides,
I even hear
besides,
that.
besides, the only reasonable explanation is Boras saying, "Hey, we need to try to get more money from the Mets." Say that the Reds are in. The Reds of all teams.
Yeah, whatever. Just come on, get it done already.
Bottom
Get it.
line, bottom line, the Mets need to bring Pete back. Pete needs to get off his high horse and come back. I
I
said
I have an idea, by the way. You want to hear my idea?
I don't. No,
Please.
fine.
Thank you. Next week, Super Bowl. Scrap the halftime show because I'm not interested in hearing Kendrick Lamar. Scrap it. Right? Put a ring with Scott Boras and David Stearns, and whoever throws the other one over the top rope, Royal Rumble-esque, right? Get the deal that they want. And boom, done. So then after whoever loses, you sign the contract right there. Fireworks go off. I am a real American. Hulk Hogan theme song, whatever it is. I don't know. You got sunshine, whatever. I don't know. Whatever song you want to put out there, put out there.
Now,
Done deal. Sign it up. Gone.
how funny would it be if somebody at the NFL just heard you, and all of a sudden the halftime comes around, they bring the cage from the WWE Hell in a Cell, and all of a sudden you see Scott Boras and David Stearns in there, and
yeah.
they're just going at it with chairs and
Scott Boras and David Cohen.
Steve
Cohen.
Steve Cohen. That would be one
Right?
hell of a halftime
Oh,
show.
come on. I promise you that will be more entertaining. That would be so much more entertaining than Kendrick Lamar.
Listen, I said at the beginning of our podcast I want to do something a little bit different, right? Something that we've never really talked about or whatever, but you talked about the NBA earlier, and I said, hey, listen, we're the original Mets guys, not the original basketball guys. But last night, Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis in a 3-team deal. Now, I want to ask you, create that trade in the MLB. Because that is a massive trade. You're taking one of the best young basketball players in the world, and you're throwing him onto
All right,
great.
here we go.
Let's hear it.
Here we go. I got one half of it. Let me see who he's getting traded for.
We'll wait. Take your time.
All right. You can have Mike Trout being traded for Garrett Cole.
That is horrible.
Why?
Because none of those guys are young. None of those guys are young. There you go. Marco said it. Juan Soto for Bryce Harper. That was exactly what I was looking for.
But that's already the same thing. You have a different position because Luka's a guard and AD's a center.
And Juan Soto's a right fielder, and Bryce Harper's a first baseman. It's the same thing. You just took two old guys. Whit for Met News. Whit for Trout. Love to hear it. Sinropa, do you got anything for us? So I like the Whit for Trout. I was thinking like Whit for Max Scherzer, just because AD is old as hell.
How old is it? How old is AD? I don't even know.
Who knows?
I feel like none of these basketball players, except for LeBron, are old.
I feel like, does anybody know how old Anthony Davis is? Should we look this up? AD. Anthony Davis. I searched up AD and age. AD is 31.
Okay, so he's not that old. He's not
pretty
that old.
old.
He's not.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay,
He's 31. You're old for you, but please, for me, he's like.
Well, you're 72. What's
he's a
your
little
issue?
schnook. He's a little
Yeah, but he gets traded for a 25-year-old stud.
It's okay, but that's what I'm saying. I think Whitford Trout is a little much. It's a little much.
How old is Mike Trout? Mike is like 36 or something like that, maybe younger.
And he's also probably pretty young. He's been like hurt for like
he's broken.
Hurt for over half of his career.
Anyways, so I also wanted to do this. Actually, you wanted to do this rather. You want to do this. I talked about this last week with Flavor Flay. How do you like our new jerseys?
So I'll tell you. Okay, so first of all, let's just recap this, right? The Mets came up with a new alternate road uniform, right? Which is the pullover blue, New York in that in with this. Hold up, oh, right,
Wait.
right with this this marking, and I happen to like it. I happen to like it, and I think that it's going to play really nicely on the field. As long as they don't wear blue pants with it, if they wear their gray pants, well, it'll be great. I'm definitely not against it. Now, what I was thinking, and then now there are reports now because they start getting screenshots from MLB the Show that the road uniforms are going to have blue and orange piping on their arms, on the neck, and on their pants, which I think could be a nice little addition. I'm glad that they're not trying to redo the whole road uniform. It's a classic look. But what it did get me thinking is, what are your favorite uniforms that the Mets have ever worn?
I'll give you a list. My least favorite, the one I hate the most. Do you remember the Lost Mets, the Lost Mets,
The orange Lost Mets.
the orange? Yeah, I hated those. Those are terrible.
I'm with you.
My number one favorite of all time is the '86 jerseys with
The racing stripes.
with that. Number two will probably have to be the classic home jerseys. I love those jerseys. Number three, if I have to pick out five, number three would be the black. I know you're not a big fan of the black, but the 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 white jersey with the black kind of back lettering.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The
Old like the old home jersey that
right, the 90s one.
right, yeah. So that one, and then I got a number
The
four,
late 90s or early 2000s.
2000s.
Yeah.
That one's that's a great one. And then I guess number four, I'll go the black with the white, which they recently got rid of, and I'm not very happy about it. And then I'll go with I don't know. I guess the City Connect jersey.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I love the whole uniform, business thing. I love it. I'll tell you this. I love, my favorite Mets uniform of all time is the '86, the mid '80s racing stripes, pinstripes. Those were my favorites. Those home and away. Those were epic. I didn't like the '90s black ones, but I'll tell you, and this is gonna be a hot take. It doesn't rank high up there, but I happen to like it, so I'm gonna say it. I like the black unis that they wore for the Friday night games. Then they switched it once the what do you call it game?
They switched it. You
They
like the
switched
one
it to like Wednesday night or something.
so you like the one this year without the white in it.
Without the white, right? Just the black and without the that kind of like thing in the middle, the
Right.
blue stripe coming down the middle. But I'll tell you one uniform that I think doesn't get a lot of credit, and I loved it, and I wish it would be part of their road rotation. Is
Let me say it. I know exactly which one you're going to say. It's the blue one that had the gray lettering in the inside.
boom, right? The 2015 era,
2016.
2015-16 with the blue and the gray lettering
You had
on the
a
inside.
you had a Conforto jersey like that, no?
No, I had the cap. I didn't have the Conforto.
I think somebody had a Conforto. Maybe it was your brother-in-law,
Uncle Shim.
Uncle Shim. But I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what else has to be said because.
But I'll tell you the original, the current set, the standard home and standard away. It's clean. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the general road uniforms. I'm interested to see what this is going to look like with the new piping on it. I think it could be a nice touch, but I want to
It
see it.
also it also could be too much though. It could look like they're trying too hard to kind of push two new jerseys onto us. So I really really like the original and how it was last year. It's just classic. It's clean. It's nice. But talking about the new jerseys, when they released it and showed everything, I was live with Vinny from Shea Less, and he said pretty much exactly what I was thinking. I'm not such a big fan of the jersey, but then I saw Lindor wearing it, and I liked it a little bit more, right? But if the Mets start winning in that uniform,
Who
I'm
cares?
gonna, I'm gonna fall in love with it. It's
Of
gonna be my
course.
favorite. If the
Yeah.
Mets win every time they wear it, I'm gonna love it.
Okay. Now let's flip the conversation. Right. What unis were your least favorite?
For the Mets.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
obviously, I don't care about
So I already said the one I hated the most is that orange
lost
lost
Mets.
Mets.
Okay.
By the way, going back really quick, a jersey that doesn't get talked about as much is, I forgot what year this was, maybe 2014 or to 2016, is when they did the Little League player, right? They
Yeah.
put the nicknames on the back. Those were awesome.
Yeah. Those are cool.
Those need to come back. But my least favorite is got to be so the orange lost Mets ones, the maybe maybe the all black one. I not the biggest fan of it.
The one that they wear now.
Right, I like the white in it. The blue one that they just took out, the blue home alternate one. Not a big fan of that one either. Um, I'm trying to like think of jerseys that they had, but not a lot
So
of
so
top of my head.
so let me. I'll tell you which ones that I don't like. Right. I was never a fan of the black ones in the late '90s, early 2000s. Right. I was not a fan of that. Road or home. Um, any Mets uniform, any Mets home uniform that didn't have the pinstripes on it, did not like. Right, we just had Mets in a plain white one. Those were weird. And then they had a period of time where they wore like the cream colored home uniforms. Those were terrible. And you're not going to remember this, right? Because you're like not old.
Wow.
There was a year where, as a part of their alternate uniforms, they wore at home a cap with a white a white cap with a. Those were nasty.
I will have to find a picture of that. But before we end off, I wanted to do play a little game with you that um, we did with Vinny from Shea Less. I want a video with it. I want to post it. So I want you to rank these Mets seasons. Blind rank these 5 Mets seasons. You might know what's coming, you might not, but I have a bigger range of seasons because you're an old man and you've seen more.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with 2000.
I'm debating between three. So let's set the marker as 3.
Put it at 3. Just know you cannot move it. So
I
if
know.
it's
I know.
if it's
That's what
3, it's at 3.
I'm putting it at 3. I can see it at 2, but I'll set the bar with that being 3.
2022,
4.
4. We won a lot of games that year. We won a lot of games that year.
We didn't win the last ones.
No, we did not. We'll go with 2015.
Let's put that at 2 because I love the fact that they weren't supposed to be there.
Right. Okay, fine. So we have At number 2, 2015. 3, we have 2000. Did you do 4? You did 4
I did
as
4 as 22.
2022 as
Right now I have
2022.
1 and 5. This is the
You have
worst
1 and
setup here.
5. So I'm gonna go 2024.
See, so now this is where I'm stuck, right? Because if you give me 86, I don't remember the season, but I remember winning the championship. But 2015 to 24, I actually got to enjoy the season with all my boys. Right, 2015, it was just you.
Right.
Right, 20. So I'm gonna put that at number 1.
It's a good thing you did, because I was gonna say 2023 as the last one. So that's number 5.
Number 5. Good job.
I was hoping that you would think 86 was going to come, and you watched them win the World Series there, and you wanted to put it 1.
I
so
thought
you
maybe
put
you used to give 88, which would have also been interesting. You know,
So-
my first injection of that.
for
All right.
for some reason the Instagram live ended. But anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We are now 10 episodes of this. 10 episodes of you guys listening to us yap about the Mets. We appreciate it a lot. I didn't think we'd be 10. I'll be honest, when we started this, I didn't think we'd be here, but we are. So please don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Comment, like, share, and subscribe again.
Apparently, clicking the notification button also on YouTube helps us out a lot. So click that notification button, and let's get this ball rolling. As always, let's go Mets.
Go, Matt. Okay, rewind. As always,
Let's go
let's
Mets.
go Mets. Perfect. That was awesome.